Nick Conte was once a standout pitcher for North Providence High School. Fast forward to this morning, he hopped on a flight to Arizona to sign his first professional contract with the Kansas City Royals after being drafted on Monday in the 8th round.
This is Nick Conte, and you're watching the Moneyball channel.
Welcome to Moneyball. I am excited. I have Nick Conte with me today. What's up, Nick?
How's it going, man? Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. This is my pleasure for sure. Nick was drafted round 8, Kansas City Royals. How'd that feel?
It was awesome, man. It was a surreal experience thinking back to it, man. I mean, being able to experience that and share that with my parents and kind of just something I've been dreaming about my whole life. It was just really, really cool experience.
I love getting into these stories a little bit, almost like, where you were, what you were doing at the time. Some guys drafted 1, 2, or 3. They're like setting up for it. They have parties, whatever. Some guys drafted 18, 19, were playing around a golf with their buddies. How was everything? How was the day?
Yeah, so for me, I was definitely expecting it, but not as early as I probably had a dozen teams that had reached out and like, there's a chance we'll probably call you on day 3, early day 3, or maybe late day 2. But the Royals had definitely shown the most interest in me as an organization. So I honestly was just sitting around hanging at my house for the day. My mom and dad were at home. I was kind of just trying to distract myself, not like stress about it too much.
Yeah.
So I was just hanging out, probably watching TV. Maybe I got a lift in or something in the morning, something like that. Yeah, I think I got a phone call, right after the 7th round, after the Royals made their pick, and yeah, they told me they were going to take me with their 8th round pick, and I was stoked. Told my parents, and then kind of just happened just like that.
Will they reach out to your agent first?
It's different for everybody. Sometimes it depends on the organization.
Yeah.
Some organizations will reach right out to you as the person.
Yeah.
Some will just reach out to your agent if they know that you have the agent, they'll reach right out to them, and that's what the Royals did for me. He's like, if this is what you want, let's do this. So
congratulations, dude. Like I said, all the way around, it's just an amazing thing. I'm hoping I have 3 little boys, man. If he didn't cry in front of you, he was crying inside, man, because it's the proudest moment a dad could have. Were you an elite, travel showcase type player, or like, did you always kind of know you were something a little above and beyond?
Yeah, I would say with baseball for sure. I played 3 sports growing up. I played football, I played basketball, and then baseball, but I always loved baseball the most. So I would spend my summers playing, travel ball since I was probably 9 years old. Lucky enough, my mom, she was able to stay at home. She hasn't worked since I was born. So, she was the one kind of driving me around during the weeks and stuff like that while my dad was at work if I had games. And then during the weekends, my dad would he was coaching one of the travel ball teams that I played on growing up. And, we traveled all along the Southeast as I got older and, played on some more higher up travel teams. And
did you do perfect game? Did you do perfect game stuff?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did perfect game, a good amount, all that travel ball stuff. But yeah, super grateful that my parents would give me those kind of opportunities to do that kind of stuff. Cause not a lot of people get to do that, and it definitely does. It opens up a lot of opportunities for you.
I'll tell you what, Nick, it's something, man. And I'm so glad you're hitting on it. There's a lot of good athletes out there, but not having that support system, and if you just think alone, right, you're from Rhode Island. So the people know, as the smallest state, you're from Rhode Island, and there's some good baseball that comes out of that region, that Cape Cod type, I guess, energy that comes out of that region. A lot coming out of Jersey lately too, but the athletes, and you probably know some of them personally, who just didn't have the ability, right? Say they weren't quite in the position where they couldn't get here or get there. And it sounds like you're very humbled and very grateful, that you were able to have that provided for you to get you around, man, because without that, right, like you could be the best athlete in the world, but just never be seen. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And I would say, especially coming from Rhode Island, like, it's not a very heavily scouted for colleges. If you want to try and get out of New England, there's not schools from, Georgia, Florida, the Carolinas that are coming up to Rhode Island to come watch guys play. So you got to go down to them. And, it's unfortunate that, there's a lot of kids out there who have the ability, have the talent, but they don't have the means to be able to play in those kinds of tournaments to get seen.
You're starting to see it more. You are starting to see, I think the colleges are smartening up.
Mhm.
Like, I'm a Buffalo guy. We have the Bison's trip. We're for the Blue Jays. It's tough, but it's not like a big, melting pot of MLB success. There's some
Mhm.
great ball players in the area. Like you just said, nobody's coming up to Buffalo, right? They're going to go down south. They're going to be here, be there. The places, the hot spots for baseball, which I get it. It makes sense. But there is some schools kind of sharpening their sword a little bit now, coming up here and seeking talent in the Jerseys, in the Rhode Islands, you know what I mean? And they're finding guys like Nick Conte. They're saying, wow, man, this stuff's up here, and this guy's flame throwing. And, we got to talk about Duke, bro. We got to talk about Duke. Tell me about, I guess, how you ended up at Duke. And it's legendary. Christian Laettner's a Buffalo guy, so
Yep.
Tell me about Duke a little bit.
Yeah, no, Duke was an amazing experience. I'm super grateful that I got to, go there and get all 4 years in there and get my degree from there. But out of high school, I got recruited, but it was a lot by like local schools, all around New England. With the Ivy Leagues, I always wanted to go to a school with high academics. I could thank my parents for that. They always pushed that on me. A lot of kids, when you're looking at colleges in high school and you're like, all right, we got categorize these colleges. You got the fallback schools, the reality schools. Like, yeah, like I could get in there. And then you got the dream schools, and Duke was up there as a dream school for me. But yeah, I got recruited by a lot of the New England schools, the Ivy Leagues, a few schools down south like Virginia Tech, another ACC,
Yeah.
Tulane, Stetson.
Great baseball schools.
Nothing. Yeah, I mean, and for me, it all happened kind of late. I think being from Rhode Island, it was tough for me to get recruited at times, and especially because like the high school baseball there isn't the best. So I had to, travel to the perfect game showcases in Florida, Georgia to get seen. Up until probably my junior year, I hadn't found anything that I loved, and I was like, I'm set on this place. I kept holding out, and I was like, I know what I'm capable of, and I know that I can play in the Power Five, and
Yeah.
held out on that. And lucky enough, I tried out for the area code games, and I was able to make the East Coast Pro Showcase down in Alabama, in Hoover, Alabama, and traveled down there. I think it was the summer before my senior year. And Coach Pollard, who was at Duke at the time, had seen me and, really liked what he saw. It was probably one of my better outings that I've thrown in my life there. He saw me and reached out right afterwards and got me on campus in the next week. Did a quick showcase there on campus for the pitching coach to see, and also the hitting coach and, infield coach, because I did go there. I went there as a two-way, but yeah, got me on campus as soon as they could, and then offered me, and I was like, yeah, this is what I want to do.
That box, man. Dream school, right? Check that box.
Exactly.
And I'm so happy to hear that story and that it went that way, dude. Like it's so wild. I don't know if you're a religious guy, a faithful guy, right? But you manifested it. If you think about it, man, you manifested it. You did not settle. You knew what you were capable of, as you said, and just you were patient. Having the cerebral, okay, wait, I'm not gonna jump into anything, right? And then getting that opportunity and then making the most of it. You said it was the best you probably ever pitched. Were you starting at the time, or were you coming in, or what were you doing then?
Honestly, I wasn't starting. The only time I ever really started was in high school.
Okay.
Or high school. But for my travel ball teams, I was always like a reliever.
Okay.
Because I was usually playing the infield throughout the games.
Okay.
And then I'd kind of come in for relief.
Reliever is it's finally, in my opinion, getting the respect it's always deserved, if that makes sense. The reliever position is one of the toughest positions in any sport. You're on the hook. Maybe your guy's, he wants to go 5. He wants to get the dub, whatever. He might put somebody on, okay, Conti, go take care of my mess, right? Or vice versa. You know what I'm saying? You might have to do it the other way. And it's just such a tough position to go in and say, okay, now all of the pressure's on me. People don't realize. And in my opinion, man, the relief position has just never, ever gotten the respect. What's your take on all that?
Yeah, no, I mean, relieving, I've grown to love it more and more as I've continued to pitch. I mean, throughout college, it's different. College relieving is different from obviously being in pro ball and relieving. But I like the adrenaline piece of it. All right, get Conti hot, get up in the pen and just get going. I think that piece of it's super exciting. And, I want to take advantage of it and use that adrenaline and go out there and use it to my advantage and just kind of want it to help me pitch better.
Sorry to interrupt you. What are the main differences with college and MLB relieving so the people,
Yeah, I think college is, well, let me start with pro ball. I would say pro ball, it's a little more structured at the lower levels. You kind of have a good idea of when you're going to go into the game and going to pitch. College, it's pretty random. Like, I think usually coaches in college rely a lot on the same 4 or 5 guys
Yeah.
in high leverage situations. So you kind of know, like, if it's high leverage, all right, I might be in this situation right here. Versus if it's not really high leverage situation, they might go with the other guy in the back. I would say I had a very interesting experience at Duke. I mean, I did not pitch.
I love the honesty, man. I love it.
I didn't pitch a ton, man. I had a pretty normal freshman year for what you'd expect in like the Power Five. I probably threw 12 innings, um, and I was like, I'm kind of confused, like why I'm not pitching a lot. I
Yeah.
thought I was pitching well, but I think it's just common for freshmen, especially at that time. It was the year right after COVID. You got a lot of veterans on the team, fifth years, sixth years, some even seventh years, which is crazy to say. But yeah, I didn't pitch a ton, and then sophomore year I struggled a lot. Probably threw 3 or 4 innings. Didn't really have the trust from the coaching staff. So didn't throw much my sophomore year. Junior year, got Tommy John, missed the entire year, and then came back senior year. I came back kind of right when the season started. So I hadn't established that. Like, trust with the coaching staff. So it was tough for them to roll me out there in high leverage situations and stuff like that. So because
That makes a lot more sense. Yeah.
You definitely, I mean, you got to earn it. So I mean, yeah, like I said, I threw less than probably 30 innings in my entire college career at Duke. I mean, I think everything happens for a reason, and I
Think
did what I
about that
needed.
though. Hold on, let's think about that a minute, man. Right? I mean, you're drafted in the 8th round at MLB, and you threw 30. Like, think about that. First of all, from a talent standpoint, that's off the charts because these scouts know what they're doing, and they see something. You're 23 years old, dude. You're not 29. You know what I'm saying? And so there's a ton of bright future left. And again, the smart ones are going to see that, and they're going to look at what you have to offer. Right. Power Five obviously does change that. That changes that a little bit, right? As far as the outlook of everything.
Yeah.
Were you ever discouraged? I mean, was there a point where you were just, really frustrated while you were there? Like, hey man, I want this. Give me the ball. Like, I want to get out there.
100%. I mean, every day, every day we had a game. I want to be the one who goes out there, but unfortunately, I'm not the one making the decisions. It was frustrating at times because I felt like I was one of the better pitchers on that team, but like I said, just didn't have the trust of the coaching staff for them to send me out there more often. But I mean, I went out there in summer ball, after the college season was over, go play, and I played in the Cape for a few months, and then in the NECBL for a while. Kind of just showed that when I get sent out there to go, do my thing, like, give me the opportunities, I'm gonna show you what I can do, and that's what I did. And that's basically how I got drafted, is from summer ball. It wasn't really from college, because last summer, right before the draft, I went and played for the Ocean State Waves in the NECBL and just dominated, and had a lot of pro scouts come watch me throw, and that's basically how I got myself drafted. So
A lot of ways to skin a cat, right? I mean, it's just getting out there and being seen, man. I love the Cape Cod League. A lot of the smarter junior college kids and coaches try to get the kids out to the Cape, because that's where they're going to get noticed. Because, like we had talked about, how else are you going to get noticed? You want to get the guys out there to get exposure, because they're not going to Rhode Island, they're not going to Buffalo. Last time out, I just checked out quickly. 2 innings, 5 punchies. Just, it seems like you're gaining momentum and building confidence. Is that fair to say? Just as you pitch, man, are you starting to get that momentum going?
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I had a rough start. Definitely had a rough start to the season. Struggled with command on the fastball. Just some few more walks than I, hoped for. But definitely gaining momentum and like building confidence the past probably month or so. And I've been working on a lot of stuff like mechanically and making a few adjustments to the mechanics, and also just, pitch calling and, throwing the right pitches and right counts and giving myself the best opportunity. So it's been good of recent. So hopefully I can keep building on that. Yeah.
How hard is it? It's almost like old dog, new tricks type thing, right? You're used to throwing a certain way, and there's a lot, it kind of, I go back and I look at like Little League, where you have your coach telling you what to do, and then the parent behind the fence, and you see these kids and they're like, what am I supposed to do here? Right. And they usually end up listening to their mom or dad and doing the wrong thing. But how hard is it to, like you had just said, working on mechanics? You're so used to doing something a certain way, and then to trust a coach and say, hey man, change this grip. And you're like, well, I throw 96 with this grip. Like, this is my 2C, right? Like, how hard is that to embrace a new strategy?
It's definitely a challenge. And I think I'm fortunate enough where, like I said, like, I didn't pitch a ton in college, and it's like I haven't had a ton of reps, ton of innings. So it's like, compared to some other guys they throw 80 innings a year in college, and they are so used to throwing this one way and these pitches the exact way. For me, I've been able to make those adjustments, and I think I'm a little more impressionable as a pitcher
Right.
just because I have such little workload and like experience over the past 4 or 5 years.
One of those happens
Um,
for a reason thing. Think about that too, right? It falls into place, man. You're more coachable, really.
yeah, it's a good way to look at it. And I think when coaches give me, critiques on stuff and want me to try and make adjustments, it comes pretty naturally to me. And like just this past few weeks, one of the adjustments we made was when I come set, bringing my glove up, bringing it up here instead of down on my hip. And it changes, it's only a slight change, but it actually helps a lot. And like it's a different feel. But for me, like it took me probably 3 or 4 days and it's like, all right, this feels natural to me. Yeah.
It had to feel super weird at first. It had to be really uncomfortable.
Yep. Yeah, no, I remember the first day they told me to start doing it. Played catch and I was like, they're like, how's it feel? I was like, different. He's
Yeah.
like, different is good.
And you're always trying to be
So,
respectable, right? You're always trying to be, you know what I mean? But I think, the more cerebral guys, somebody like yourself, and I can tell by talking to you, you're an intelligent dude, and you're going to embrace, that these guys are put in those positions for a reason all the way up. These are all hired by the Royals. If you're with, the Fireflies or with whoever, as you go up, man, By the way, some of the coolest uniforms in the world that you guys have right now, the neon.
oh yeah.
Yeah, I love those, man. When years ago I was coaching T-ball and we did like all the single A teams, and that was the first one I ever had. I'm like, these are the best uniforms.
Yeah, they're nice. They're cool.
Those things are sweet, man. Let's get into a couple of fun questions here, man. What is your go-to pitch if you got a cocky guy in the box, right? You got somebody who, he's yapping or you might know something about him. He thinks he's got you figured out. How do you like to handle business?
A fastball up and in.
A little chin music?
Yeah, I mean, not gonna hit him, but definitely back him off the plate a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. And yeah, man,
Probably come right back in with like a slider or something.
how often does a high up become a little too much there, right? Like how hard is that to control?
A little tough to control it. Sometimes you just have to do it. If guys are, guys are on top of the play or something like that, like it's kind of what you got to do.
Yeah, it's just baseball etiquette. Always has, always will be. Will there be different mood music for the type of, and this is kind of a hard question, I guess, not for the type of batter, but for the type of situation, right? Like maybe it's a banger, adrenaline going if the bases are loaded and you need to go get somebody, or you got a couple run lead, maybe some Morgan Wallen comes in. Will you change it up like that based on, how you're feeling?
In an ideal world, yeah, that's what I would like to do. If we're going in like high leverage situation, throw something to go out there and hype me up. But if it's not, if it's the fifth, sixth inning and, it's 2, 3 run game, yeah, I'll throw on some Morgan Wallen. I'll go out there and vibe.
Right. Chill yourself out a little bit. If you could go 100 years in the future or 100 years in the past, which way would you go and why?
That's tough. That is tough. You're talking in baseball.
Try to make you use that brain a little bit. No, just all together, man. No baseball, nothing. Just you could go back to 1925 or your man, sounds scary to even say, right? 21, 25.
I would probably say the future. Yeah, I'd probably say the future. Yeah, man. I mean, I'd like to see. I feel like growing up, I was thinking about this the other day. Like in elementary schools, like they talk about 2025, we're gonna have like flying stuff.
Yeah. Jetsons stuff.
Yeah, I'm like, and I was like a little kid. I was like, oh wow, that'll be really cool. I can't wait till then. 25, and like we got nothing like that. Yeah, but I mean, I think 100 years of difference, man. That would be crazy to see what's going on there. I'd like to see what baseball looks like in 100 years.
Oh man, you know what? I hope it doesn't look too different. I like some of these changes, right? The All-Star game was pretty cool. Did you watch the game?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
What do you think? What do you think of the challenges, balls and strikes challenges?
Oh, the ball. Yeah. No, I honestly do like it. I think it changes the game though, and it's gonna take adjusting, especially for the hitters, I think. But I don't know. I don't know enough about how it's going to change the game because I feel like whenever you bring in new kind of technology like that, there's always loopholes around it and stuff like that. So I'm not sure how it's going to affect the game, but I think it'll be good if I had to take a guess.
So I kind of compared it to tennis. If you watch Wimbledon or the U.S. Open, they would use, that the lines, right? Whether it's an in or out and you get a couple challenges a game. I didn't expect to like it, Nick, but I did, right? I think it was a strikeout call. Kershaw, I forgot who it was, but they just raised the finger, challenged, and it caught the corner. And it was a punchy, and it was like, that was kind of cool, I mean, the hitter's going to be furious, right? The ump made the call, but then it goes the other way. So I think as long as it's not overused, so you'll kind of be the first to get a look at some of that stuff. What do you think of, pitch clock and some of the changes that they have made?
Yeah, the pitch clock, I think it's good. I think it's definitely good for the game. I experienced it a little bit in college. They started implementing it, I think, my sophomore or junior year with the pitch clock. And then, pro ball, it's even faster. 15 seconds, nobody on, 18 seconds, runner on.
Yeah.
It speeds up the game, and
quick.
it forces you to be really locked in. You can't go take your time on the mound and like think about what you want to throw. And you kind of just gotta go out there, you throw your pitch, like, all right, this is what I want to throw next. Throw the rubber and go. It speeds the game up, and you have to be able to, as a player, you have to be able to slow it down in a way. So I think it's good in that way. I think also the way it's affected like base running a lot. It's definitely affected that. I mean, you see it like in the big leagues. You got Shohei Ohtani stealing 40, 50 bags. Pitch clock plays a big role in that. I'll tell you that. As a pitcher, it makes it tougher to hold guys on because they see that pitch clock. They know exactly when you have to deliver.
And once you've thrown over twice, right? Like once you've already thrown it, then it's almost a green light.
Yeah, so it makes it tougher to hold guys on, and I think guys can steal bags a little bit easier at times. But yeah, you gotta get creative with it. You gotta be able to pick off when guys don't expect. Take advantage of the pitch clock as well. Sometimes come set with 12 seconds left on that clock and give a long hold to a guy and make him like wonder what's going on. So it goes both ways. Pitchers can take advantage of it and get creative, but hitters and base runners can also take advantage of it.
It's a smart answer, from a fan's perspective. I like asking you guys because, you guys are up there and you're not looking at this game for anything else than let's go get the win from a competitive standpoint, right? And fans, let's go. You know what I'm saying? Like we want action. It has helped baseball, from that perspective. You used to, if you go grab a hot dog, you come back, it might be the same hitter sometimes, you know what I mean? You could throw it over to first. Now you might miss it. You might miss half an inning, right? So it has sped it along, and I think it's created a little bit more energy because we want to keep youth involved in this game. You know what I'm saying? We don't want to stand full of these 75-year-old guys keeping their own score. And I feel like at some point baseball started maybe slipping away a little bit or even just becoming more international. So I feel like we've pulled it back in. But I love asking you guys because everybody gives me a slightly different answer. And I think it always is kind of at the end of the day, if it's going to help the game, all the guys who are, if it's going to help the game, then you'll adjust to it. Make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. All right. You're over at my house. We're going to watch the All-Star game. We're going to order a pizza. We're going to order pizza and wings, man. Where are you going? How you doing the pizza and how we doing the wings?
Oh man, I'd say pizza, go probably just plain pepperoni. Maybe pepperoni and then some like banana peppers.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm eating that. Yep.
Pepperoni, banana peppers, get some ranch on the side.
You just lost me right there. You just lost. Got to go blue cheese.
It depends on where we're getting this pizza from.
Okay, that's fair.
It's like if we're getting pizza from like Domino's or something like that, I'm probably gonna use the ranch. But
okay, you know what? That's fair. That's fair.
You get it from a good spot, do without the ranch.
All right, my man.
And then a buffalo wing guy. I like spicy stuff, so go buffalo wings.
Have you been to Buffalo ever?
I haven't. No, I've never.
All right. Well, when you're in AAA, right, and you'll be in Buffalo, and you and I will be chatting, and I'll take you out for wings for sure. There's a couple of real good. Shout out Elmo's, shout out Bella, a couple of sponsors of the show. Some real good chicken wings here, man. So I'll be sure it's my treat whenever you come to Buffalo. And you got to eat them with blue cheese, and you got to eat the pizza with blue cheese. It's just the way it is. Where do you see yourself year, 2 years, and how do you feel fulfilled?
I would say, man, I think with baseball, I'm kind of just trusting the process right now and trusting, the individual plan that, the organization has for me. And I know that, with my ability and the talent that I have, that I think I'm really close to, jumping up really fast. And I've been told that by multiple people in the org. And I think once things really click and I get consistent with it, I think I'm going to jump up really fast. And I think I could see myself in the big leagues within the next 2-3 years. So maybe even faster. I think you really don't know. Things can happen.
This was a lot of fun. It really was. I appreciate it. I hope you had a good time.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
You got it. Enjoy the rest of your day.